Welcome back to the channel NUMISMA HUB. Today's video. In this episode, we'll dive into the fascinating history of the 1934 $1 American silver certificate, a note that represented both value and trust in the United States during the Great Depression. From its bold design featuring George Washington to its connection with America's silver reserves and monetary reforms, this bill is more than just paper. It's a true symbol of liberty and resilience. Stay tuned as we uncover its story, its significance, and why collectors today still treasure this iconic piece of American currency. Top 5. First up, the 1934 $1 United States note holds a special place in American currency history. Officially, it was a silver certificate, backed by the U.S. government's promise that the note could be exchanged for an equivalent value of silver upon demand. This backing made the note more than just paper money. It was essentially a receipt for real precious metal, giving Americans confidence in the monetary system during a time of economic uncertainty. Issued in the wake of the Great Depression, the 1934 series reflected major monetary reforms introduced under President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The gold standard had recently been abandoned, and silver began to play a greater role in the nation's currency. As such, silver certificates like the 1934 $1 note became a crucial part of everyday commerce. The note prominently features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. On the obverse, Washington's image had long been associated with American strength and liberty, reinforcing the theme of national unity during difficult times. His portrait on the 1934 note was engraved with fine detail, showcasing the high level of craftsmanship of the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Across the top of the bill, the words "Silver Certificate" were printed, distinguishing it from Federal Reserve notes and United States notes. This classification indicated that the holder could redeem the bill for $1 silver, tying the currency directly to America's silver reserves. The reverse side of the 1934 $1 note displayed the Great Seal of the United States, featuring both the obverse and reverse of the seal. The design included the eagle with the shield, arrows, and olive branch, symbolizing strengths in defense and a desire for peace. On the other side of the seal was the unfinished pyramid with the all-seeing eye, a reminder of America's enduring liberty and ongoing growth. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" were not yet present on the 1934 $1 note, as this motto were only added to U.S. currency in the mid-1950s. Instead, the note carried the phrase, "This certifies that there is on deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand." The design and issue of the 1934 series were directly connected to reforms in America's monetary policy. Following the Silver Purchase Act of 1934, the U.S. government dramatically increased its silver reserves, and silver certificates became more prominent in circulation. This law aimed to stabilize silver prices and support mining interests while also reinforcing public trust in currency. Another historical factor tied to this note was the end of the gold standard for domestic purposes. Americans were no longer allowed to exchange paper money for gold, but silver remained available, making silver certificates like the 1934 issue a valuable substitute in the eyes of the public. The note was issued in multiple series, such as 1934, 1934A, 1934B, 1934C, and 1934D, with each letter representing minor changes in signatures of the Treasury officials or small design updates. Collectors today carefully distinguish between these series to determine rarity and value. The 1934 $1 note came with two different seal colors, blue seals for silver certificates and yellow seals for special issues printed for use by U.S. military personnel overseas during World War II. The yellow seal notes were especially rare and carried unique historical significance as part of wartime currency circulation. On the obverse, besides George Washington's portrait, the note included the words $1 in bold lettering, as well as intricate scrollwork and engraved patterns. These details not only gave the note a sense of prestige but also served as security features against counterfeiting. Treasury officials' signatures on the note varied by series. These signatures are highly important for collectors, as certain combinations of Treasury Secretary and Treasurer can make a note more desirable. For example, notes with the signatures of Julian and Morgenthau Jr. are among the more commonly encountered. The size of the 1934 $1 bill is the same as modern U.S. currency, as the transition from large-size notes to small-size notes had already occurred in 1928. This standardization made it easier for Americans to handle and store currency, while also reducing production costs. The circulation of the 1934 $1 silver certificate was widespread, as $1 bills were the most commonly used denomination in everyday life. From grocery stores to gas stations, the note was a familiar sight in the wallets of millions of Americans. During the mid-20th century, while the note had significant use in daily transactions, it also carried symbolic meaning. It represented the trust between the government and the people, as citizens believed the promise written on the bill that it could always be exchanged for silver held in the U.S. Treasury. Over time, however, silver redemption for certificates ended, In 1964, the U.S. government stopped allowing paper certificates to be exchanged for silver dollars. By 1968, even silver bullion was no longer redeemable. This meant that the 1934 $1 silver certificates became historical relics rather than functioning promises of silver. Today, collectors prize the 1934 $1 note for its artistry, history, and connection to America's shifting monetary policies. While many notes survive in circulated condition, high-grade examples, especially with unusual seals or rare signatures, can command significant value in the numismatic market. The note also continues to inspire interest because of its ties to the concept of American liberty. Its designs, the eagle, the pyramid, and Washington himself embodied ideals of strength, vigilance, and independence. For many collectors, owning a 1934 $1 note feels like holding a piece of America's economic journey. In numismatic circles, the 1934 series serves as a key study piece for understanding the transition between different types of U.S. currency. It bridges the era between gold-backed money and the modern Federal Reserve note system, marking an important chapter in America's financial history. Ultimately, the 1934 $1 American silver certificate is more than just old paper money. It represents resilience during the Great Depression, adaptation during wartime, and the evolving relationship between the U.S. government, its economy, and its citizens. Even today, it stands as a lasting symbol of trust, liberty, and the enduring legacy of American currency. Next up, the 1923 $1 United States note, often referred to as the large-size note, holds a very special place in American currency history. It was the last issue of large-size paper money before the government switched to small notes in 1928. Collectors and historians alike treasure this note, not only for its beauty but also for its historical context in the post-World War I economic era. This note prominently features the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on its front. Washington had already become an iconic figure in American numismatics, appearing on coins and currency as a symbol of liberty and national identity. His portrait was carefully engraved and scented, surrounded by ornate scrollwork and intricate designs that made counterfeiting difficult. The 1923 series $1 note belongs to the category of legal tender notes, also called United States notes. These notes were authorized under the Legal Tender Act of 1862 during the Civil War and represented a government promise to pay the bearer $1. Unlike silver certificates, which were backed by silver, legal tender notes were backed solely by the faith and credit of the U.S. government. One of the most striking features of the 1923 note is its large size, measuring approximately 7.375 by 3.125 inches. These notes are almost 30% larger than the small-size currency Americans are used to today. Their larger dimensions allowed for more elaborate artwork, which is part of the reason they remain so attractive to collectors. The back of the 1923 $1 note displayed a beautiful green design, earning it the nickname Greenback. It featured a bold and detailed geometric pattern, with the words United States of America and $1 clearly inscribed. The intricate design helped deter counterfeiters and reflected the artistry of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing at the time. The signatures on these notes varied, depending on the Treasurer of the United States and the Secretary of the Treasury at the time of issue. These signatures not only authenticated the notes but also provided collectors with valuable information for dating and identifying variations in the series. The most common signature pair for the 1923 series was Spielman White. The 1923 $1 note was issued in large quantities, making it one of the most widely circulated large-size bills. This widespread use means that surviving notes are not exceedingly rare, but well-preserved examples in uncirculated condition are much harder to find and command high prices in today's market. This note marks the end of an era in American currency, with the economic challenges following World War I and the onset of modernization in printing technology. The government decided to reduce the size of its currency in 1928. The smaller size made notes easier to handle, cheaper to produce, and more convenient for everyday transactions. The note also carries symbolic meaning in terms of American liberty. The use of Washington's portrait tied the currency to the nation's founding ideals of independence, freedom, and democratic leadership. In this way, the 1923 note is not just a monetary instrument but also a patriotic reminder of America's heritage. At the time of its circulation, the 1923 $1 note had real purchasing power. A dollar in the 1920s could buy a meal, several gallons of gasoline, or a variety of household goods. Looking back, it demonstrates how inflation and the passage of time have changed the meaning of $1 in American life. The note's production was part of the broader efforts of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing to create secure, durable, and artistic currency. Each note was meticulously crafted, engraved on steel plates, and printed with multiple layers of ink to enhance durability and design clarity. Collectors today often divide 1923 $1 notes into categories based on their condition. Notes with folds, tears, or stains may only be worth a small premium above face value, while crisp, uncirculated notes can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The value is also influenced by unique serial numbers, star notes, and printing variations. Interestingly, the 1923 series was one of the last to feature the red seal of the United States notes. This red seal and serial numbers distinguished them from silver certificates, which carried blue seals. This visual distinction made it easier for banks and citizens to recognize the type of note they were handling. The 1923 note was part of a transitional period in American currency. Just 5 years later, in 1928, the Treasury introduced small notes with familiar designs that more closely resemble the money we use today. The shift reflected a modernized vision of American finance and marked the beginning of the era of standardized small-size currency. Despite being common in circulation, many people held on to 1923 notes as keepsakes. Some were saved in family collections, passed down through generations, and later rediscovered by collectors. This has contributed to the relatively strong survival rate compared to other large-size notes. During the 1920s, the United States was experiencing both economic prosperity and looming instability that would later lead to the Great Depression. The 1923 notes circulated during the so-called Roaring Twenties, a period of cultural change, technological advancement, and booming business in America. For many Americans, holding the 1923 note meant more than just having currency. It was a tangible connection to national pride. The use of classical design, patriotic imagery, and Washington's face emphasized values of unity, liberty, and strength in a rapidly modernizing world. Today, the 1923 $1 note remains a favorite entry point for new collectors. Its affordability in lower grades, combined with its historical importance, makes it accessible and appealing to hobbyists. At the same time, rare varieties and pristine notes make it an exciting target for advanced collectors. The note is also frequently displayed in museums, numismatic exhibitions, and historical showcases. Its large format and striking design make it stand out when compared to modern money, sparking curiosity and appreciation for the evolution of American currency. In summary, the 1923 United States $1 American Liberty note is more than just an old piece of paper money. It represents the end of the large-size currency era, the celebration of American heritage through Washington's portrait, and a bridge between the past and modern currency. Its historical, artistic, and collectible value ensures that it continues to be remembered and cherished as a true piece of American history. Next, up the 1935 $1 United States note, officially known as the 1935 $1 silver certificate, stands as one of the most recognized and widely circulated American banknotes of the 20th century. This note is often referred to as the American Liberty Dollar because of the symbolic imagery it carries, representing freedom, national pride, and trust in the U.S. monetary system. Unlike coins, this note was directly backed by silver held in the U.S. Treasury, giving it a unique place in financial history. The obverse side of the 1935 $1 silver certificate features a large portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Washington's image had long been associated with strength, leadership, and the foundation of the nation, making him a fitting choice for the face of America's most common banknote. His portrait was based on Gilbert Stuart's famous painting, which became the standard depiction on many U.S. currency. On the reverse side, the 1935 $1 note displayed an elaborate design dominated by the word "1" in bold block letters. The green ink and intricate detailing gave it a secure yet artistic appearance. This reverse design became iconic and was intended to prevent counterfeiting while showcasing American symbolism. Unlike coins that often bore eagles or shields, the reverse of this note emphasized simplicity and recognition. The 1935 $1 silver certificate is significant because it represented silver-backed currency. At the time, holders of these notes could exchange them at the U.S. Treasury for silver dollars or silver bullion. This direct link to a precious metal gave the note real tangible value, a feature that distinguished silver certificates from later Federal Reserve notes, which were backed only by the government's promise. The note prominently carried the words, "This certifies that there is on deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand." This statement reinforced public trust, as every note had a real-world backing in silver reserves. In effect, the note was as good as holding physical silver, issued in the midst of the Great Depression era. The 1935 $1 note played an important role in restoring faith in the American monetary system. With economic instability and banking failures fresh in memory, the government used silver certificates as a way to stabilize and strengthen confidence in paper money. The 19 series is especially notable for its longevity in circulation. Unlike many other notes that were replaced quickly by newer designs, the 1935 $1 silver certificate was printed continuously from 1935 until the late 1950s, with multiple subseries such as 1935A, 1935B, 1935C, and so on. This made it one of the most common and familiar pieces of currency in American households for decades. Another interesting feature is the absence of the motto "In God We Trust" on the 1935 series. This phrase was not added to U.S. paper currency until the 1957 series. For collectors and historians, this absence makes the 1935 notes a reflection of America's evolving cultural and political landscape during the mid-20th century. The Treasury seal on the 1935 $1 silver certificate was printed in blue ink, a key distinguishing mark that set silver certificates apart from Federal Reserve notes, which used green seals, and United States notes, which had red seals. The blue seal quickly became a recognizable feature, symbolizing the note's unique silver backing. The signatures on the note also changed with each sub-series. Various combinations of Treasury officials' signatures appear on 1935 notes, such as those of the Treasurer of the United States and the Secretary of the Treasury. These signature variations are highly studied by collectors and can affect the note's rarity and value. The production of the 1935 series reflected the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing's advances in printing technology. Fine detailing, anti-counterfeiting patterns, and the use of special paper made these notes both durable and secure. The designs balanced practicality with artistry, ensuring both everyday use and national pride. In addition to its economic role, the 1935 $1 silver certificate became a symbol of American culture. For many families, this was the first type of paper money children handled. It was common in shops, markets, and wages, embedding itself in daily life and the collective memory of the nation. The historical timing of its release also connects it with major world events. During the 1930s and 1940s, America faced the tail end of the Great Depression and the challenges of World War II. Soldiers were often paid in silver certificates, and they circulated widely overseas, introducing foreigners to American money and its symbolism of liberty. One of the most fascinating aspects for collectors is the sheer variety of the 1935 series, with multiple revisions, minor design tweaks, and experimental issues. The series provides a wide range of collectible notes. For instance, there were experimental R&S marked notes produced to test new paper compositions. Although the note carried a face value of just $1, it held far more significance than its denomination suggested. It represented not only economic stability but also a promise of liberty and prosperity. The words United States of America and the symbolism of George Washington tied the note directly to the nation's founding ideals. By the late 1950s, the government began phasing out silver certificates. In 1963, the Treasury announced that silver certificates could no longer be redeemed for silver dollars, and by 1968, even silver bullion redemption ended. This effectively ended the era of silver-backed currency, making the 1935 series one of the last of its kind. Today, the 1935 $1 silver certificate is a highly collectible item. While most examples are affordable due to the large number printed, rare variations, star notes, or notes in pristine condition can command significant premiums among collectors. Its historical connection to silver and its longevity make it an attractive collectible. Beyond monetary value, the note serves as a historical artifact. It represents a time when the U.S. government linked its paper currency to tangible assets, reflecting a different philosophy of trust and value in the financial system compared to today's fiat currency system. For numismatists, historians, and enthusiasts of American culture, the 1935 $1 silver certificate is more than paper. It is a window into the economic struggles, national pride, and evolving identity of the United States during the mid-20th century. Its blue seal and bold one reverse continue to spark nostalgia and interest. In conclusion, the 1935 $1 United States silver certificate, often seen as the American Liberty Dollar, was a powerful symbol of trust, value, and freedom. It's a historical journey from silver-backed redemption to collectible relic mirrors America's transformation in currency and identity. Though it may no longer buy much in modern times, its legacy in history and in the hearts of collectors ensures that it will never be forgotten.
Next up, the 1926 $1 United States coin, widely known as the peace dollar, is an important piece of American numismatic history. It carries not only the image of liberty, but also the spirit of a nation recovering from the devastation of World War I, designed to symbolize peace after the war to end all wars. This silver dollar became one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. coinage history. The 1926 issue in particular is significant because it reflects the economic, political, and cultural circumstances of the United States during the Roaring Twenties. The peace dollar was authorized by the Pittman Act of 1918, which required the melting of millions of older silver dollars and the recoining of new ones from purchased silver. This law was designed both to stabilize the silver market and to ensure that the U.S. maintained a large stock of circulating silver coinage. By 1921, the U.S. Mint was tasked with creating a new silver dollar design, one that would capture the spirit of the post-war era and symbolize America's role in promoting peace. Anthony de Francisci, an Italian-American sculptor, won the design competition for the new silver dollar in 1921. His concept was to portray Lady Liberty in a modern, youthful form, different from earlier representations, such as the Morgan dollar, which depicted a more classical and formal figure. His design was inspired by his wife Teresa, whose facial features became the model for liberty on the peace dollar. This gave the coin a unique, personal touch and a distinctly modern look for the early 20th century. On the obverse of the 1926 peace dollar, Liberty's head is shown wearing a radiating crown, similar to the rays of the sun. This crown was a symbolic reference to the Statue of Liberty, one of the most iconic symbols of American freedom and democracy. The word liberty arches across the top, with the national motto, "In God We Trust," below, where the V is used in place of U, a classical artistic choice reflecting Roman influence. The date, 1926, sits prominently at the bottom. The reverse design of the coin is equally symbolic. It depicts an American bald eagle resting on a rock, clutching an olive branch in its talons. Unlike earlier depictions of the eagle in aggressive, warlike poses, this eagle is calm and peaceful, looking towards the rising sun on the horizon. This imagery represented hope, recovery, and the promise of a brighter future. Above the eagle is the inscription, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum, with $1 and peace inscribed below. The 1926 peace dollar was struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia issue was the most common, while the San Francisco and Denver coins were minted in smaller numbers, making them scarcer in higher grades. Each mint mark can be found just below the word "1" on the reverse side of the coin. Collectors pay close attention to these mint marks, as they significantly affect rarity and value. In terms of composition, the 1926 peace dollar was made of 90% silver and 10% copper, with a total weight of 26.73 grams and a diameter of 38.1 millimeters. This composition had been standard for U.S. silver dollars since the early 19th century. Each coin contained approximately 0.77344 troy ounces of pure silver. The coin's reeded edge also helped prevent the illegal practice of shaving off small amounts of silver from the edges. The mintage of the 1926 peace dollar was relatively moderate compared to some other years. Around 1.9 million coins were struck in Philadelphia, about 2.3 million in Denver, and 6.9 million in San Francisco. This made the San Francisco issue the most plentiful, though minting quality varied, with San Francisco coins often showing weaker strikes compared to the sharper details from Philadelphia. Economically, the mid-1920s was a period of prosperity in the United States, often referred to as the Roaring Twenties. This prosperity influenced the production of silver dollars, as there was less demand for heavy coinage in circulation. Instead, many of the 1926 peace dollars were stored in treasury vaults and did not see widespread circulation until later years, when silver dollars were released in bulk to meet demand. Politically, the 1926 peace dollar carried weight as a symbolic coin of international peace. The First World War had ended less than a decade earlier, and the world was still grappling with its aftermath. The U.S. intended the coin to serve as a reminder of hope and a tribute to peace, representing America as a stabilizing force in global affairs. This made the peace dollar more than just a piece of currency. It was a political statement in metal. The artistry of the coin also stood out from other U.S. coinage of the time. De Francisci's Liberty, with windblown hair and radiant crown, was more modern than the classical liberty of earlier designs. This stylistic choice represented America's entry into the modern age, aligning with the cultural dynamism of the 1920s, which saw changes in music, fashion, and social values. The peace dollar was as much a reflection of cultural change as it was of economic and political realities. Over time, many 1926 peace dollars circulated in the western United States, where silver dollars were more commonly used in daily transactions. In the eastern U.S., paper currency was preferred, so fewer silver dollars made it into circulation. This regional difference has affected the condition of surviving coins today, with some showing heavy wear and others remaining nearly pristine after decades in government storage. For collectors, the 1926 piece dollar is an attractive issue. Its availability in circulated condition makes it affordable for beginners, while high-grade, mint-state coins can be highly valuable. Coins with sharp strikes, brilliant luster, and minimal marks are especially prized, particularly those certified by major grading services, such as gem examples from the Philadelphia Mint are easier to find, while high-grade San Francisco issues can command substantial premiums. In the numismatic market, prices for the 1926 piece dollar vary depending on condition and rarity. Circulated examples can be obtained for a relatively modest price, often close to their silver melt value, while uncirculated examples can range from hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on grade and eye appeal. Exceptional specimens with strong luster or proof-like qualities are particularly sought after by advanced collectors. The coin also holds historical importance because it was minted during a period of transition in American coinage. The U.S. Mint was experimenting with more modern artistic styles, breaking away from the conservative and traditional designs that had dominated earlier decades. The piece dollar helped set the stage for later 20th century coin designs that embraced bolder artistic expression. Culturally, the piece dollar became a symbol of the American spirit in the 1920s. It represented hope, progress, and the desire for peace in a turbulent world. Its imagery was timeless, with Lady Liberty and the eagle embodying the values of freedom and resilience. For everyday Americans, the coin was a reminder of national strength and unity, even if many never directly saw or used the coin in daily transactions. The legacy of the 1926 piece dollar extends into modern times. Collectors view it not only as a beautiful piece of art, but also as a tangible connection to an era of profound change in American society. Its presence in coin collections and auctions worldwide keeps the memory of the Roaring Twenties alive, allowing future generations to hold a piece of history in their hands. Many piece dollars, including those from 1926, were eventually melted down in later decades, reducing the number of surviving examples. This makes well-preserved coins even more valuable today. The cycles of minting, storage, and melting reflect broader economic trends in U.S. history, where silver dollars often served more as bullion reserves than as everyday currency. Today, the 1926 piece dollar remains a centerpiece for many collectors of U.S. coinage. Its balance of historical significance, artistic beauty, and relative affordability make it a must-have for anyone interested in American numismatics. Whether one is drawn to its symbolism of peace, its connection to the 1920s, or its silver value, the coin continues to captivate enthusiasts around the world. In conclusion, the 1926 United States $1 piece dollar stands as more than just a silver coin. It is a symbol of American identity, resilience, and hope. With its bold design, cultural relevance, and historical context, it captures the essence of an era when America was looking forward with optimism. For historians and collectors alike, the 1926 piece dollar represents a lasting legacy of liberty and peace etched in silver. Next up, the year 1928 was a turning point in American currency history, especially for the $1 bill. Before 1928, U.S. paper money came in what were called large-size notes, which measured 7.375 by 3.125 inches. These large notes had been in use since the Civil War era. However, in 1928, the United States Treasury made a major change by introducing the first small-size notes, measuring 6.14 by 2.61 inches, the same size still in use today. The 1928 $1 bill, therefore, became the very first small-size $1 note in U.S. history, making it an important milestone in American currency. The 1928 $1 bill was issued as a silver certificate, which meant that every note was backed by physical silver held in the U.S. Treasury. At the time, the note carried the promise that it could be redeemed for $1 silver upon demand. This direct tie to silver gave the note both trust and value among the American people. The silver certificate system was an extension of the nation's bimetallic monetary tradition, designed to provide stability and confidence in paper money. The portrait featured on the front of the 1928 $1 bill was none other than George Washington, the first president of the United States. His image was adapted from the famous Gilbert Stuart painting known as the Athenaeum portrait. Washington's placement on the $1 bill reinforced his iconic role in American history and symbolized strength, liberty, and leadership. The design of the 1928 note introduced a standardized appearance that remains recognizable even today. The front displayed Washington's portrait in the center, surrounded by decorative engravings. The word "Silver Certificate" appeared prominently above the portrait, while the obligation statement, "This certifies that there is on deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand," was printed below. This phrase tied the note directly to real silver. The reverse of the 1928 $1 bill was equally impressive. It featured the bold word "1" dominating the design, surrounded by ornate scrollwork. This was one of the first uses of the small note reverse layout that would evolve in later decades. Unlike later versions, however, the 1928 bill did not yet feature the Great Seal of the United States on the back. That design change would not come until 1935. The color scheme of the 1928 note included the familiar green ink on the reverse and black ink on the front, giving rise to the nickname greenback. This color choice was practical, as green ink resisted chemical changes, fading, and counterfeiting attempts better than other inks. The green tint soon became symbolic of American currency itself. The legal and monetary significance of the 1928 $1 silver certificate cannot be overstated. At that time, citizens truly could redeem their bill for a silver dollar coin, such as a Morgan dollar or Peace dollar, at the Treasury or a bank. This made the currency a direct representation of precious metal, rather than just a symbolic piece of paper backed only by government promise. From an economic perspective, the introduction of small-sized notes in 1928 was part of a Treasury effort to cut costs. Printing smaller notes saved millions of dollars in paper, ink, and storage expenses. Additionally, smaller notes were easier to handle, count, and transport, benefiting both banks and the public. This practical improvement was a key reason why the government shifted away from large-size notes. The 1928 $1 bill was issued under the series 1928, 1928A, 1928B, 1928C, and 1928D, depending on minor changes in signatures of Treasury officials. Each series bore the signatures of the then-serving Treasurer of the United States and Secretary of the Treasury. For collectors today, these signature combinations are important details that can influence a bill's value. At the time of its release, the bill circulated widely during the prosperous years of the late 1920s. However, just 1 year later, the Great Depression struck following the 1929 stock market crash. This economic downturn gave the 1928 series even greater historical importance, as it became the standard $1 note during a period of enormous hardship for millions of Americans. The phrase, "In God We Trust," was not yet present on the 1928 $1 bill. That national motto would not be added to U.S. paper money until the 1950s and 1960s, long after the release of this early silver certificate. Instead, the 1928 bill reflected a more secular promise of redemption in silver, linking its worth to the tangible wealth stored in the nation's vaults. Production of the 1928 $1 bill took place at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in Washington, D.C. Skilled engravers worked to create intricate line patterns, borders, and portraits designed to deter counterfeiting. The high level of craftsmanship ensured both beauty and security, which made these notes highly respected worldwide. For ordinary Americans in 1928, the $1 bill carried significant purchasing power. A dollar at that time could buy several gallons of gasoline, a hearty meal at a diner, or even cover a day's wages for many laborers. Its economic weight made the 1928 bill far more valuable in daily life than a single dollar is today. The note also symbolized American liberty, which was deeply tied to the nation's founding principles. The very presence of Washington's portrait and the guarantee of silver redemption reflected the ideals of honesty, fairness, and economic freedom. For many citizens, Carrying this bill represented both trust in the government and confidence in the U.S. financial system. In the years following its release, the design of the $1 bill would undergo numerous changes. By 1935, the reverse would be redesigned to feature the Great Seal of the United States with the famous eagle and pyramid, creating the familiar look still seen today. But the 1928 version holds a special place as the first of its kind, bridging the gap between the large-size notes of the past and the modern small-size notes we use today. Collectors today consider the 1928 $1 silver certificate highly desirable. Its historical significance as the first small-size $1 note gives it a premium place in numismatic history. Depending on condition, rarity of series, and signature combinations, these notes can fetch anywhere from modest sums to hundreds or even thousands of dollars in pristine condition. Star notes, which replaced effective bills during production, are particularly valuable among collectors. A 1928 $1 star note, in crisp uncirculated condition, can be worth many times more than the regular issue. Such details make the study of 1928 $1 bills a fascinating field within paper money collecting. The bill also serves as a window into the social and cultural life of 1928 America. It circulated during the final years of the Roaring Twenties, a time of jazz, flappers, and economic optimism. Within a year, it would be used during breadlines and soup kitchens of the Depression, making it a silent witness to one of the most dramatic shifts in U.S. history. The 1928 $1 bill also highlights the government's constant balancing act between economy, security, and symbolism. Its smaller size saved money, its design fought counterfeiting, and its promise of silver-backed trust. All these elements combine to make it not just currency, but a powerful tool of national unity and identity. In conclusion, the 1928 United States $1 bill represents much more than a simple piece of paper. It marked the beginning of the small-size note era, carried the strength of the silver certificate system, and became an enduring symbol of American liberty. From its role in daily commerce to its lasting value for collectors, the 1928 $1 bill remains a historic milestone in the evolution of U.S. money and a reminder of the trust and stability that currency must provide to a nation and its people. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the fascinating history of the 1928 United States $1 silver certificate. This note is not only a piece of paper, but a powerful reminder of American liberty, trust, and heritage. I hope you enjoyed learning about its origins, design, and lasting significance. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more amazing stories from the world of coins and currency. Your support means a lot and keeps this history alive for future generations.